I'm gonna start talking more on here about some of the insanely messed up stuff about this country that Americans don't even seem to know. Here's one. Everything that you know about crime in this country is a lie. This is a chart of all the stuff that people in America steal. It's stuff like robbery, carjacking, and every woman under 30 stealing from Sephora. And this is somehow what we think about when we talk about crime in America. Now this is the full chart, which shows that wage theft, which is corporations stealing from their employees, accounts for a little under $40 billion, almost 3 times as much as all other types of theft combined.
Well, of course, Republicans don't want to do anything about 70% of the theft in this country, and the Democratic Party barely wants to do anything about it either, because the people committing that theft, that corporate wage theft, and just corporate theft in general, they're the ones who, of course, are bankrolling these politicians' entire careers. For instance, oil companies right now, everywhere around the country, we're seeing the price of gas rise. And it's not just here, it's happening all over the world because of the conflict in in Ukraine. But you know, we've recently seen that the price of oil has dropped for oil companies, and yet the price of gas at the pump continues to rise for everybody else. Oil companies, they're making record profits. Meanwhile, everybody else is going broke at the pump. Why? Because they can. They're taking advantage of the situation in Ukraine so that they can say, oh, hey, we can't do anything. When really they're cheap and they're doing it. Why? Because they can. Because there's no repercussions for them for just price gouging people in the middle of a crisis.
And it's worth mentioning that victims of corporate theft are often low income and are disproportionately black and brown. Weird coincidence that tough on crime conservatives never want to talk about any of like 70% of theft in the United States.
I mean, let's talk about just the whole concept of corporate stock buybacks, which was, really, the dam was really broken under the Reagan administration when he opened up the gates for that. But, companies that regularly, routinely spend billions of dollars on their own stocks to artificially boost the price of it so that the people who own the majority of their shares can make even more money with their feet up. But supposedly it's about bootstraps and hard work. That has nothing to do with hard work. It has to do with rigging the system so that you can make more money for nothing. But the biggest repercussions of that, of course, are that instead of spending those billions of dollars to hire more workers like you say you will for getting those taxes cut, you don't hire new workers. In fact, you fire workers in order to make room for more money so that you can buy more of your own stocks, so that all of your executives and all of your biggest shareholders can make money. Meanwhile, the working class and the middle class continues to shrink because of practices like corporate stock buybacks.
Hey, what can I do for you? Yeah, I'm looking at my bank account and it says I made $15 billion less than I should have last year. Oh, no, did someone steal from you? We gotta get to the bottom of this. Thanks, yeah, I'm glad you care. Got you, man, we're family here. By the way, could you work until midnight tonight? That's kind of outside my normal hours. Oh, don't worry, it's off the clock, so no one will know. Wait, if I work more than 40 hours a week, don't I have to get overtime? Well, we could do that, or we could keep it between us, because we're like a family. But that $15 billion though, that's crazy. Yeah. Also, I need you to go take this COVID test. It's like an office requirement. Oh yeah, I've actually been meaning to do that. I'll get paid while I wait for the results, right? No, not at all. But this is what family does, right? Like, we're a family. I don't think that's... $15 billion though. I mean, who could have taken that? Also, we're gonna pay you less than minimum wage. Okay, so that's not legal. It's a temporary thing. Like, the money's tight right now, and and we're family, right? Like, and you're my son, and I'm your dad. Are you the one who's been stealing from me? I could report you for wage theft. You're fired.
I mean, Donald Trump's signature legislation was creating the biggest tax cut in history for corporations and the wealthy. After 10 years, the sunset provisions hit, and everybody who isn't making a lot of money's taxes are going to raise to make up for the losses of everyone else's taxes getting cut. I mean, we know how this works. It's the same movie that we've seen a million times. I mean, they cut the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. That's a huge cut. But that's what corporate America does because they're the ones who write the laws for the country. The general public wants what we know it wants, but we don't get what we want because there's too much corporate money within the electoral system. And unless we continue to rise up and step to the plate, nothing's going to change.